Welcome to The Fall to Grace. This is a podcast where we hope to bring a grounded, practical approach to spirituality and mystic wisdom. Today, my friend Connor and I are kind of just going to go stream of consciousness style, talking about some current events that are happening and how we can deal with them. So thanks for joining us. And please, if you could give us a rate and review here, wherever you're listening, that would really help the podcast. And let's get into the episode.
All the birth rates are declining.
Yeah.
They're paying people in South Korea like $38,000 to get married. They pay you $720 just to go on a date.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's like a product of their mostly their culture, but like the obsessiveness about study and work. The Hagwons, the schools that they have, you go to school for like 12 hours a day. The average family spends 20% of their income on tutors.
Wow.
Yeah, because they're so like dead set on getting a job with one of these Kaibols, like the big corporations. And there's like fucking a couple hundred of these jobs, and there's like an entire like each year, and it's all flipped. Well, it's mostly dependent on who you know, but they tell everybody that it's dependent on your test scores, and so everybody works really hard to get good test scores so they can get one of these jobs. And then like 98% of them don't get these jobs.
Sure.
And end up struggling.
That's super sucks.
And they are sacrificing their entire population for it.
Wow.
They're going to have like half as many young people as they will old people in the year 2100.
Wow. That's crazy, actually.
Which is like a ridiculous way to run an economy.
Yeah.
You like can't do it. Yeah, I mean, everybody's depressed as shit, too.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very fun.
Well, it's the times we live in. I mean, none of this is that fun. But it's like the natural reaction to things. I was thinking about this today, like, in terms of, like, the technocrats, like the rich tech class, like, this is one thing I don't think they factored in. Like, I think most of this is architectured, like provide as much ease and comfort to people as possible. And give them like an AI who's going to do everything. Like, and that was like what the whole Super Bowl was about. The whole Super Bowl's ridiculous. But I don't think they factored in that like people would just stop having children because they would become increasingly isolated. France is like sending letters to 29-year-old women, like just begging them to have children. Like, it's crazy.
I know. I want like the return of partying. Like Charlie XCX, Brat Summer, we need a little bit more of that. Like we need to party more.
What do you mean?
Like we need to be going clubbing. You know, like the younger generations just aren't going out to bars and stuff. We need a third space. We need to go out and, I don't know.
We need social skills. Like social skills are rapidly dwindling, and like authentic connection is rapidly dwindling. And that makes it pretty hard to like find people and make families. And I mean, not that everybody needs to do that, but yeah, this is just a natural kind of cascading effect of the world we live in.
Yeah.
Is that like there's less point. Like we were just talking about that. Like I think that's what Gen Z is realizing. Like they are coming into a world that isn't for them in many ways, and like hasn't been for them since they were born. Millennials in like a similar respect. Like we had a good time up until 9/11, but I was like 9 when that happened, and like everything's just been downhill, and like the economy isn't working for them. Like the social spaces aren't necessarily working for them, and just like the drive for connection is gone because everything's convenient, and you just don't have to learn how to do anything on one hand, but also like why would you? Right? Just some thoughts.
It's interesting. I was listening to this channeler, Lee Harris, and he was talking about how counterculture, he was channeling this. The counterculture is going to like make a big comeback. Like things are going to swing the other way in our lifetime, according to spirit. Not just how Lee Harris channels, not just as Lee Harris channels it, but like things are going to swing back in our lifetime, and we need to be bringing the energy in. We need to be like raising the vibration. We need to be like doing the work.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's interesting though. He says that. I do believe that's true, right? But also, I don't know. Like, what is counterculture now?
Counterculture now is going to be like a return to past values, ironically. Like going to shitty hardcore shows in people's basement and like...
I did that yesterday.
Yeah, but there needs to be like a resurgence in analog media, a resurgence in analog interactions. Yes. Zines. People need to make zines. People need to scrapbook. People need to call their fucking grandma.
You know, I firmly believe this. Like, I think like most... I don't know. There's like a lost generation, right? Like the Gen Z generation is pretty lost because they didn't learn any of those skills because they were kind of told they didn't have to. And they're like a little late for the counterculture that may defy it. Or they'll create it. I don't know.
I mean, I'm Gen Z. I know other Gen Zs. Like, I know Gen Zs who care about this stuff. I'm in a book club with all Gen Zs.
Yeah, but like, it's just, I mean, it's a lot of economic factors. Like, the opportunities aren't there? And they're rapidly dwindling because like the age you enter the workforce is coinciding with this huge AI boom, which is eliminating entry level positions. And it's just like eliminating the grunt work that like so many people rely upon when they get out of school. You know, like there can be a pushback towards trades and all these things that they're advocating for, but there is going to be like this generation that was sold this idea of like, if you go to college, you get your education, you get out of school, and you're set. And this, I mean, this happened to my generation too as a millennial, but to a lesser degree, which is like, you take on, you know, they told you to take on all this debt, they told you to do all these things and you'd be fine in the future, which was this boomer ideal. That was true for them, but like all of that is rapidly dissipating. And I don't know. I don't know how it's going to flesh out, but I do agree with you that something's got to give. And I think that that's probably what he's talking about in terms of channeling. It's just like the AI boom and so much of our culture today is extremely dictated by this demand for ease and comfort. And what I see is that people are kind of rejecting that. And they're saying like, I don't need easy for some of these things. Like I can do some things.
Right. It's better to do a lot of these things. Ease and comfort actually really hurts us in a lot of ways. It's like that Kurt Vonnegut quote about like kind of putzing around and you go buy envelopes and you talk to the guy when you're buying envelopes and you have like these little moments out in the world. Like that's what we're giving up for ease and comfort is these very human little moments, these analog moments. So
yeah. I mean, and just like learning, right? Like the idea that our growth is kind of the purpose here is that we make mistakes and we learn from experience and we learn how to do things and we learn how to interact with people. And all these are valuable experiences in our lives that AI is like rapidly trying to tell us that we don't need. It's like, you don't need a person. I can be a person for you. Like, you don't need a wife. I can be your wife. And that relieves a lot of the fear that we have of like, oh, do I have to go out and talk to women and like do all this stuff? And I might get rejected. But the authenticity of the connection is extremely lacking. And it's just being propped up by these companies who are saying, you know, this is what we need. But it's also like it's a total cover for a pretty like fascist technocrat takeover, right? Like this is like the alternative to democracy in their eyes, is if I provide them enough ease and comfort and kind of stretch them economically at the same time, they'll be far too worried about keeping up in life and staying comfortable that they won't have time for like social unrest and counterculture.
Right.
So I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theory in this, that most of these tech corporations understand that this is the goal.
I don't think it's conspiracy theorists anymore. Yeah.
No, I mean, and it never was. Like this is all over Project 2025 and all this stuff is you can create these little techno states. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty nightmarish, but it can't continue this way. Like the people have to realize that we outnumber them at some point. That's what's crazy to me is like we are like strung extremely thinly. We are like deliberately strung very thinly. Like we're not supposed to comfortably make rent and we're not supposed to comfortably buy groceries because that would give us enough cushion to be defiant.
Right.
And so the idea is to remove that cushion so that no defiance can happen. But I mean, that's like, I don't know, it's grinding metal on metal. Like at a certain point, something has to give. And it has to be the fact that there's 500 of them and 8 billion other people.
It's a very small percentage of this human population who wants darkness.
I think what we're seeing right now, in terms of like the egregious things that are coming out of these files, is that we're getting this peek into the elite's pretty twisted like pleasure system.
Don't call them that though. They're not elite.
Sure.
Keep going.
The rich and powerful, whatever. Yeah. But you know, I can't help but think like it's just a symptom and proof that when you get everything that you want, you still want more. And you get increasingly more perverse in your desires as you accomplish the lower rungs. So you get rich, and then what? You go on yachts, and then what? You get your villas, and then what? And you start to have these perverse, like, prohibited fantasies, right? And you get off on this idea that you can go to a private island and have these sexcapades, and you're insulated, and you're high on those ideas and the risqueness, right? Like, it's just the mind going crazy, and it's horrible. I mean, it's atrocious in our minds, but mostly it's just this idea that, like, the mind will continuously find a way to gratify itself if left unchecked. And in a certain sense, we're all subject to that.
I feel like people hearing this would be like, I would never do that. But like, we might go to places that we wouldn't think we would, for sure. Places, you know.
Yeah, you were talking about Solomon the other day.
Yeah.
So I started looking into Solomon quite a bit.
It's so interesting.
It is really interesting. And what I was reading was that Solomon is this cautionary tale in the Bible, because Solomon in his early days is extremely virtuous, and God comes to Solomon and asks for and grants him a boon.
Mm-hmm.
And Solomon, being kind of as virtuous as he was at the time, asks for perfect wisdom. And he asks for the power to discern in all situations and to know what's right and to know what's wrong. And God, being so impressed by Solomon's virtue, says, I'll give you that. And then on top of that, I'll give you wealth and power because you're so virtuous. And the wealth and power slowly leads him into more and more egregious acts. And the idea is that he's doing all of this with the perfect wisdom. And so that you can be still tempted by these things, even with perfect discernment. And so it's a cautionary tale of, like, you can be as virtuous and as pious as you want to be, but you can still be indulgent. And that's a lot of what I think is happening, is that, like, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and absolute wealth corrupts absolutely. And so, I mean, I struggle to have compassion for this whole situation, but I do I'm not surprised in a spiritual sense that depravity of this magnitude exists, because it just seems to be the only thing that could exist.
Of course, God will let you take it to the end. You know what I mean? Like, God, if you're doing your tapasya, like, God will let you take your urges to the end, and then he'll kind of be like, or she'll more accurately probably be like, see how bad that sucked?
I mean, I don't think they're happy.
No, they're not. Of course not. No.
And I don't get the portrayal of happy people.
Yeah.
When I read what's in those files, I get the idea of insatiable people. Like, these people are just hungry for more and more and more. And that's what we turn into. We turn into these, like, hungry ghosts.
Yes.
That are never going to be satisfied. And that's just our nature, right? Like, if we relentlessly pursue pleasure and convenience and ease, like, this is what we turn into. We turn into these kind of vapid, insatiable monsters.
Yeah.
I
do have some thoughts on this, though. Deity like Shiva, who is obviously, like, Shiva's awesome because he hangs out with the ghouls and goblins, and he's not scared, and he's like, he's covered in ash, and he's down to clown with everybody all over town. You know what I mean? Like, he's pretty open-minded and flexible in that way. And so, like, the kind of darker energies know that they can come to him because he's a renunciate, though. That's the difference. Like, Shiva has an interest in renunciation, and these people don't have an interest in that. You know what I mean? Not saying that renunciation is the only way, but, like, there has to be, for this to work, for you to realize God or whatever, or to become more or less egoless, as close to that as possible. Like, there does have to be a containment of self, like a renunciation. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, definitely. The renunciation is just the freedom that you can kind of experience. It's this idea that, like, what you're talking about how, like, these things are limitless, and how you could step into all these things and you could have all these things, and God will give you kind of the object of your desire if you're willing to kind of work for it, and you're willing to, like, do the practice to get it. That's absolutely true. But what I'm saying is that God gives you those things and lets these things happen in order for the realization of suffering.
That's what I mean.
Like, it brings to your awareness all of this relentlessness and all of this greed.
Look where it ends up.
Yeah. And you just, Like, even though you have everything, you look
Yeah.
around and you go, I still feel empty and horrible. And that's why pleasure just temporarily abates that need. And that's why there's so much pursuit of it, is because you need so much of it when your soul is kind of that empty, is that you need so many short-term pleasurable experiences to simulate any sense of happiness, because how you are in your natural state is empty. And that's how I think most of these people exist right now, is just like spiritually and personally bereft. And that's like how a lot of us feel, right? We talked about this the last episode, was like there's an existential pain that goes into this. And what's happening in our economy and our society is like, let's give them as much noise as possible, right? Like there's always another TikTok, there's always another reel, and you never have to be with the silence of self. And so we all indulge in that because we all hate being in the silence of the self so much. So the cultural reckoning has to be around this idea of like, I'm willing to suffer a little bit, and I'm willing to like take the normal pains of life, and for that I can sacrifice the instant gratification of the 15-second video.
Right.
But that's like such a reckoning. I don't know. All of our attention spans are shot, and most of us can't sit in silence now. So it's almost hard to see, but I do believe that it's coming. I mean, I do believe there's a major shift occurring right now, and you know, there's more and more accountability taking place. But like, what has to be the moment? I don't know.
I don't either. I don't care that much, but we have to lock in, we have to focus, and we have to understand that if they can harness the like nuclear power that's prevalent in the universe, like we can too, for the opposite, or for whatever it is that we want. And I want the realization of God, and I want to help other people. I mean, I want to help people. So I don't know, but in any case,
You sounded unsure of that.
no, I do. I just don't know how. I do want to. That's the part that's most confusing to me. You work on yourself, you go through like trials and tribulations, and then what do you do for people? I don't know.
Well, it's training people to stop relying upon the heights of experience and start leaning into the depth of experience.
Oh, that's what our soul group is doing, I bet.
What?
That.
Just getting
The
out of the
depth.
heights and leaning into the depth?
Yes.
I mean, it's certainly what I'm doing.
That's what I'm doing though, too.
Yeah, I mean, that's like my spiritual journey.
Yeah.
Is like having chased highs incessantly. I needed to realize that life is profound in pain and joy, right? That each of those experiences has a multitudes to offer me.
It was kind of funny at the Tuesday group we lead a couple weeks ago. This girl was like, "Who are you people?" Because I think she was expecting like, I don't know, maybe more like lighthearted, like hippies or something, and we're so like angsty and fourth step and shadow work. I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah, I've thought about that question a lot.
Yeah.
Since she asked it.
Me too.
And yeah, I mean, it's a funny question, because she was talking about how she was coming from a lot of similar communities, at least in name and purpose, and like the idea of a kirtan, especially like in America, is extremely ecstatic.
Right.
And it's like this blissful kind of fall into the bliss and dissolve into love kind of thing, which I do believe is very much part of the practice. But ours is a little more
dim the lights, sit around the fire and like wail. Like you said something so funny in the car after. It's like so Catholic. Like what did you say? Like,
I don't even remember.
I get on my knees before you. I am nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it's far more about the attitude that you bring to it, right? Like, I still have that experience of like really enjoying a lot of this music and really enjoying like the heart opening experience of it. But I do it with this, like, if I don't do this, I'm going to die.
Right.
And like, I don't necessarily like it here.
Yeah.
And this is the only thing that makes it bearable.
Yeah, exactly.
Is when I can dissolve into God.
Yes.
And it's not like I'm just getting around with my buddies.
Right.
And like pretending like love and light is the only thing that exists.
Yeah.
I'm like defying the dark.
Yes.
By practicing light.
Exactly. It's like, let me cut open my guts for you, Ma. And what spills out is just existential dread. And I lay it at your feet. Like, help me understand it, please. I can't carry it. It's, yeah.
No, I mean, I think that's for me, that's like the desperation that drives, right? Is this existential despair. And like, I'm a pretty joyful guy, but I have this demon like behind me all the time that is telling me like this is off and like this is a painful experience, and I'm acutely aware of just the pain that goes into being separate. I've come to understand it as like my individualism as opposed to my union.
Yeah.
In spirit and in God. But like I live from that place a lot. Like I love everybody and I try to cultivate compassion and love all the time. But I also live from this fire that is like, get me out of here and take as many people as I can with me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I also am growing and understanding that like there is no difference between you and me.
Yeah. So like, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here in this lifetime as much as we can. But
Everybody.
yes. But like, yeah, I live in grief almost. It's like, this is actually another thing Lee Harris said. I'm just quoting Lee Harris the whole podcast, but I really related to this. He said that he feels like he came into this lifetime with this soul imprint of grief. And when he said that, I was like, that's my exact experience. I feel like, I guess he said it was like remembering grief from past lives. Maybe, yes, probably. Like, I actually haven't experienced that much grief in this life, but I feel like if there's one emotion that just is like the mark of my life, it's fucking grief. I have grief all the time. I feel now I'm integrating and I'm like learning what to do with it. But my whole life, I've had this grief of, I guess, being in a skin suit. I agree with him probably because I've been told that I have the soul of a warrior.
Warrior says that. Come on, conviction.
I felt corny saying it, but I actually do think it's true. So, who knows? Like, I've probably experienced tons of grief and I just remember it and I just feel it. Like, it is like a psychic imprint on my soul. I feel it right now. This yearning, like my chest is gonna, like, I'm gonna rip in two. It's always a layer that I'm experiencing at any given moment. I'm experiencing that feeling.
I mean, I think we're talking about the same thing. I don't know. Like,
it's probably, maybe it comes in different, like, sensory sensations.
Well, I don't even know if they're different, but I think I've told you this story before, but I got this little cousin. I think she was like 6 now.
Oh,
but
yeah.
when she was like 4, like she has 2 older sisters and she was looking at a picture of them with her parents and she walked up to the picture and she was like, where am I? And they were like, oh, this was before you were born. And they were like, Maddie, aren't you glad you were born? And she was like, no. And then her dad was like, why? And she was like, because I wanted to stay with God. And like nothing has hit harder with me in my life. Like I'm acutely aware that I'm away from God in this experience and that I'm limited in my mind and I'm limited in my feelings and I'm limited in all aspects of my life. And I don't feel like I should be. Like something about me craves limitlessness and just the freedom that comes with it. Ram Dass said like death is like taking off a tight shoe. Yeah. And that sings to me, right? Like I do feel like I'm just in a tight shoe.
Totally.
I don't necessarily feel as though I'm grieving a person or a place. Like mine is more like I'm just so frustrated that I have to do this and be a human sometimes. But sometimes I love it. I mean, I do see the value in the experience too.
Totally. Like, and don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm just a miserable person. I was actually thinking, I made a really good latte today and I had the morning to just like lie in bed and my sheets are so comfortable. And I was thinking, it's good to be here. It's good to be here. But it is grief for me though. And I don't know how else to explain it, but like, it's just grief. It's this grief that just aches, yearning, feel like I lost something, I love more than anything in the world all the time. Just underneath there. It's like sometimes it's at the top and sometimes it's like 3 layers down. Sometimes it's 5 layers down, but it's always there. And like when I sing to God, it's like I'm letting that out. And that's why.
And God's got to experience the grief.
She knows.
Because of your voice. No.
Oh, that's true. Oh gosh. Probably true.
Good singer.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, but I am like, it's kind of like a game of hot potato, probably. I am like, I know you're kidding, but like, take it back. I don't want that shit. And she's like, no, you take it.
I don't know. I've always found longing to be an interesting spiritual concept because every time I long for like a thing or like more money or like a person or it's always so painful and it's always so miserable. But when I long for God, it's like not.
It is ecstatic in its own way, even if it is dark and gory.
It still has this like, I'm separate and I'm not with you kind of feeling. But when you call to God, God calls back. Like there is a reverberation, a resonance that goes into spiritual practice.
Yeah.
And like, that's what we bring to that kirtan, which is just like, I'm so desperate for God.
Yeah.
And when you approach God with that kind of desperation, God meets it with the same desperation. And you do get the sensation that's like God is desperate for you too. And that honestly like underpins the rest of my life. It like lets me enjoy the rest of my life because I know that like this isn't the end all be all and that God wants me back as well. And that like I am eternally loved, even if I don't feel it in a given moment, because I can channel that aspect of things.
It's like Sita and Ram. It's like Sita represents our desire to be with God. I'm quoting the Ramayana. And Ram represents God. You know, Sita is forcefully kidnapped from Ram, basically. And it's this whole journey of trying to like retrieve her, so that God and that part of us that desires to be with God can finally like be united again. But yeah, I mean, he spends the whole time wanting her back, trying to get her back. And obviously she wants him back.
That was part of the beauty of the story, is how awful they feel when they're apart and how much they long for one another. And both of them are constantly saying, like, just kill me if you're not going to take me back. But, you know, she's kidnapped in that story by Ravana, the demon king.
Yeah.
And Ravana takes her to Lanka, which is basically Epstein Island.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pleasure paradise. And Ravana's asking, like, why don't you love all of this? Like, don't you see what I'm offering?
Yeah.
I want to live in the forest with God.
Yeah.
I don't want anything. Like, just take me back there.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful metaphor, right? Like the soul being stolen by the mind.
Yeah.
And the heart pulling it back, Hanuman bringing it back.
Mm-hmm.
These are the connection of the devotion and the heart back to God.
Yeah, Hanuman bringing Sita back to Ram is this metaphor. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's an immense, like, parallel to my life.
Beautiful.
I mean, that story obviously sings to me. And I sing to that story.
Because you're a sea monkey.
Water monkey. But, you know, it's hard to put words to it if you don't know it, right? Like, if you're not introduced to this stuff, like, that pain exists, like, undefined.
Right, and then you put it on other things.
Yeah. And then you put it in people and you put it in places
money,
and jobs and money and, you know, and that's really hard. I mean, I existed that way for a long time too, where it ends in pointlessness.
Yeah.
Right? Like what I'm saying is that when I sing to God and God sings back, I found the point, right? I'm not singing into the void or screaming into the void. When I scream now, something screams back, and that's how I know I'm not alone.
Yeah.
But not everybody has that, and that's really difficult. And part of like what we're doing here is just like trying to put words to this ineffable experience of being human. And I mean, everybody has to come to it of their own accord, and all we can do is really plant seeds.
It is by God's grace, they say, that you have the desire at all. That's like the biggest boon you can get, really. But hopefully we can plant a seed. I don't know how that works.
I mean, we're doing it, right? Like, I mean, ostensibly we have a podcast that does scream into an ether.
Thank you to our 5 listeners.
Yeah, but somebody might listen to it down the road. I mean, you might find it. And that's the essence of planting seeds is like, you don't have to know if they're going to work or not.
Yeah.
And this is the essence of action without attachment, is like, you just keep doing it. You just keep trudging along and you will help people. But you have to not necessarily, it's not going to be in the way you thought. It's not going to be on the timing you thought it was going to be. And it's not necessarily going to be how you want. But the understanding is that, like, this is the part of the whole and that nothing exists without all of its parts. And so if you are playing a part, then you're important, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's awesome about spirituality, is like you understand that the world would be just as incomplete without you as it is with you. Or like it's only whole because you're in it, I suppose. And that if you were out of it, it would not be what it is. And that goes for every single human being, every single animal, every single blade of grass on the planet, is that God is never not whole and that you are part of that. And then that's a different kind of relief than the pleasure and like the short-term gratification. Like it's a much more profound sensation that you can relax into. Like you can just take it a little bit easier in this life. Most of us can't take it easy because we always feel separate and alone and inadequate. By nature, we can never be separate or alone or inadequate. By nature, we are all whole, we are all purposeful, we are all chosen, and we are all with purpose.
Yeah, you're already God's favorite, but you need to, like, with that being said, to me, that really juices me up to ask, like, how can I help, though? Like, I am important, but I also need to help. I really feel like that this week. After reading the files, I'm like, what side am I going to be on? What side are you going to be on? Like, in a very spiritual sense, on an energetic level, what am I bringing? And what have I been accidentally bringing? Like, has there been a component of my practice that's been dedicated to personal power? That's what their practice is. It's all about personal power, but I got to look in the mirror and ask, like, I think, and don't get me wrong, this is a question I've been asking myself. And my answer to that is I'm interested in personal power insofar as it gets me to my ultimate goal.
Well, I mean, one of the questions is how do you help people without power?
How do you help people? That's exactly it.
Right.
And so, yes, I do want, I am interested in personal power insofar as it gets me to my goal, which is actually helping people and realizing God and that kind of stuff. I am definitely interested in that. So that's my answer to that question, but it has made me think.
And it should, right? The whole journey is not you're going to have the right idea at any given moment. It's that you're constantly learning, and that the one question you asked 2 weeks ago has led to this new question, and that one's going to lead to another one. And that's that recollectedness that we were talking about. Like, as long as you have an eye towards God, like everything is a teacher, right? It's not this relentless pursuit of pleasure, which does, I mean, can have a purpose and can certainly bring you to God, but it's a very hard way to get there. And this is more gradual, right? Like I will do tantric practices and I will cultivate power, but at some point along this journey, I'm going to feel selfish. And what do I do when I feel selfish?
Yeah, you need to recalibrate, I think. For me, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I am a little bit right-handed, but it's like I like to do seva. I like to be helpful. I like to serve.
Yeah.
I like to open my heart.
Most left-hand practitioners are doing this for the benefit of all beings.
I know. I guess I have met some left-hand practitioners that are not. So.
And maybe they're not now.
Maybe they're not now.
Right?
Yeah. Also, I am still left-hand. I'm on the left hand.
But the idea is that like once you get entrenched in this like sincere desire to kind of get closer to God, like you can't necessarily misstep the way you used to.
Right.
Because everything is guiding you along the way. Like when I do meet people like that, and even like the love and light people, whom I also don't agree with all the time, right? Yeah. But if I can see a sincere desire for God, I immediately have faith that they're like on their way, right? Like it's like, oh, you're just pushing you down a slide. Like it doesn't matter if you're at the top of it or the bottom of it, like you're going. But you got to get people to the slide. And that'll take you because absolutely you're going to get into the spiritual stuff and you're going to feel things and you're going to feel power and you're going to get kind of enticed by it. Like that's absolutely natural. But when it has this recollectedness and this focus on God, will naturally happen.
Yeah, totally.
Because that's what God's guiding you at that point.
Yeah.
And you know, it could be painful. I mean, you might get a ton of power and misuse it and all of a sudden have a whole bunch of people super mad at you and super offended by you, but like that will still take you where you need to go. Like that can just be the necessary component. Not all the lessons feel good.
Right.
Right? Most of the lessons feel bad, but that's what leaning into the depth of the experience gives you, is this understanding that nothing is actually bad and nothing can be.
Yeah, totally. Well, with that being said, that's all we have time for. So thank you for listening. Do you want to do the outro?
I don't know what the outro is, but the whole, like, the world is chaotic right now. And especially if you are like me, like, this is one of my fatal flaws, is that I'm like a junkie. I'm a news junkie. And I like to think it's all horrible all the time. And I have a hard time seeing the forest for the trees because of the, like, rampant atrocity that happens in the world. The idea of this is to understand that, like, not everything will be good and that these shifts can happen and that we are very much along for a ride on a global scale, but on a personal scale, we're developing and cultivating an extreme depth of experience, and that every single person is entitled to this experience, and that we shouldn't necessarily let all of that take us away from what's in front of us, like where our feet are. And so you can still hear all this noise. It's not something to necessarily look away from. And there's a collective responsibility that we have as a society to kind of handle these problems. But don't let that become part of your identity more than your identity sticks with where your feet are, where your heart is, where your head is. Stay grounded and stay rooted there and keep your eyes towards God, and the rest will come and you will find your role and you will find how you're going to help people. Ultimately, if that's what you want to do, you can't go wrong.
Totally. Thank you for Thank you guys for listening. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at The Fall to Grace. Feel free to ask us any questions. And we put out episodes every 2 weeks.
We love you very much.
Yes, love you.
Stay sane.
Stay sane.
Or not.
Go a little crazy, but ground yourself after.
Just love you.
Love you. Bye.